Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Armstrong with another episode of Tuesday Tips. I do apologize at how late it is in the evening now. Um, it has been a pretty busy administrative day for me. However, I am glad to have the opportunity and time to do this video. If you are liking the contents of the video, please like, subscribe, and share. Today, we're going to talk in short about anger. This has been coming up a lot recently in some of these psychological platforms that I am a part of. And, you know, we're looking at how anger is now characterized in a way that it is dealing with a comprehensive level. How anger is dealing with a comprehensive level. We all know that comprehension is related to our understanding, and we process things differently. Everybody doesn't process things the same. That's just a known fact of life. And when we look at it, there are so many ways to manage one's anger. However, that person must first be willing to wanting to be able to cope with their perceived level of anger. Okay. There are so many different levels to anger and triggers to anger itself. You have intermittent explosive anger. You have the outburst of anger where it comes from different things, and that's a lot of what we're looking at. What might be the cause of anger? What might be the cause of anger? Have you ever seen people who just explode for any given reason? They explode, and in their explosiveness, we're looking at why is that such a trigger? Whatever is causing it, why is that trigger, that specific trigger, igniting such an outburst that sometimes is uncontrollable? So what we want to look at, some of the things that may cause an outburst. Grief. We all have lost someone that we dearly love. I had to be in the trauma room when my father's heart beat for the last time, and it was something that I never thought I would experience, especially on that day. It was nowhere on my mind. And even during that time, the plethora of emotions that I went through, realizing, having to really just face a fact that, hey, this is it for my father and I. I'm never going to hear his tenor voice again. And in my own personal journey, I experienced this grief, and yes, there was anger with it. How could my dad leave me at one of the peaks in my life? A lot of things I did in life was to make him happy, was to see his smiling face. A lot of things that I have accomplished in life was a result of me wanting to just see him happy, because I love my father to death. No pun intended, but we had a very special relationship. I was his only son. But anger came along with that. How could he leave me at a time like this? And of course, with time, I practice what I preach. I had to learn to accept the fact that it wasn't intentional. And during grieving periods, we have to know that death is not always an intentional act. Would he be living today? Sure. Enjoying, I want to do more traveling with him, things of that nature. But that's life, right? That's life. So anger can also come from grief. Fear. Fear can also bring about anger. Oftentimes when we are faced with perplexing fears, and we're not knowing how to really work those fears out, how to really just, how do I, overcome this type of fear or phobia that I may have. Anger comes along with that. Shame. A lot of times people are very ashamed, and that shamedness brings about fear, anger, and shame. Shame is something that nobody wants to be faced with. But if you take into accountability what you're doing, you won't have to worry about being faced with the shame, and therefore that eliminates that element of anger. Trauma, and that's a big one. Trauma. When we experience something traumatic, yes, we get angry at the fact of we have experienced a trauma, and not only the fact that we have experienced a trauma, at whose hands the trauma has occurred, or has been done by. Yes, it is very, very, it's a strong trigger, and I see it all the times here in the practice, the trauma that triggers the anger in some people. Disrespected. Many people don't realize anger comes from being disrespected. It's a known common thing, folks. That's why we can't treat everybody the same. Okay? But we can treat everybody right. That we can do. Feeling attacked. And that's a big one, because that is a fine line. There's a fine line there between feeling attacked and that anger coming about when you're feeling attacked, because the very thought of, hey, you're attacking me for no reason. A lot of people are feel as though they're attacked for no specific reason. This even happens in relationships. It can happen in school. It can happen anywhere. People feel attacked. So that's something that you need to look at. Maybe you need to see, okay, am I always on edge that I'm feeling attacked? Okay. You're offended. A lot of times when people are offended, anger comes out. You're stressed. Number one cause of anger, stress. Eliminate the stress, people. Get the stress under control. All right? Get the stress under control. Whatever's stressing you out in life, eliminate it. It's just that simple. Trapped. When people feel trapped in certain things, a lot of times they get angry with themselves when they're feeling trapped. Emotionally trapped, okay? Break out of that cage. Break free. Find your freedom. There are people out here who can help you find your freedom. Nervousness and guilt. Nervousness and guilt. Those two go hand in hand. The nervousness and the guilt of whatever situation that you're in. There are so many ways that we can overcome a lot of these things if we just sit down and maybe talk with your loved one. Have a conversation with yourself. I'm all for talking to yourself. Okay? Sometimes we need to look in that mirror and see, what am I doing? How can I correct some of these things that are going wrong in my own life, so that this anger will not populate as often and manifest itself as often as it is doing? All right? These are some of the if you go through this list and eliminate them one by one, I do believe that you can have a more peaceful life. You will be more peaceable with your friends and your family and your loved ones. It's all about finding a level of peace within you that you can be comfortable with. If you're always on edge, always on that sharp attack, there are some things that you need to work out. All right? The Bible says this: be ye angry and sin not. Anger is a natural emotion. As a matter of fact, if we look at the definition of anger, it's an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong. Is that type of emotion. These are things we need to work out. Okay? So, with that being said, if you need help with your anger management, please reach out to a professional, someone that can help you manage these types of emotional instabilities. All right? Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.